What's up, Daddy Gang? It is your founding father, Alex Cooper, with Call Her Daddy.
Audrina Patridge, welcome to Call Her Daddy.
Thank you so much for having me.
I am so excited. I have been an OG fan of The Hills. Congratulations on writing your book. Thanks. Choices to the Hills and back again. What inspired you to tell your story?
You know, what really inspired me was all the DMs from my fans and just what I've been through throughout the years. They were always writing me wanting advice or to know how I got through this or they could relate to me. And at the time, what I was going through, sometimes it was so humiliating and I'd get so hard down on myself. But reading that lifted me back up, knowing that I'm not alone. So that kind of inspired me to think, okay, well, this is my chance to answer all those questions in one place, everything from the Hills to my relationships to basically everything that's out there in the media or gossip or whatever that I've always bit my tongue. I never said anything. I just let people say whatever they wanted about me. Well, this is my chance to really put it all in one place and set the record straight.
Writing a book, I can imagine, it's a huge process. And you in this book take the reader through trauma that you've been through. Mm-hmm. Was it difficult to relive while writing this?
Extremely. There were a lot of moments where I would break down and it was so hard for me. And you know, my ghostwriter, Jen Schuster, who is amazing, she was almost like my therapist through it all. And I would cry and you would talk through it. And I was like, I can't put that in there. And she's like, Audrina, this you have to, so it was very therapeutic and I got through it. And the more I talked about it and the more I kept having to read the book over and over. And it's almost like I conquered something that I don't cry about anymore. It's like, it was very healing.
I can imagine that too, because it's almost like you literally started this being like, I wanted to finally just say my piece. Yeah. And then naturally there is a part of us that we always are like, wait, should I say this? And so it was kind of like, I love how your ghostwriter is like, Audrina, are we doing this or
Snap
not?
Out of
We're going all in.
We're going all in. And that's what I said. I want to be vulnerable. I want to be honest. I want to be open. So if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it the right way.
Well, let's get into what you wrote about in the book, because there's a
water.
lot. Let's take a sip. Here we go. Okay, right. We're going all the way back. Mm-hmm. How were you originally cast on The Hills?
So I moved to LA. So I was going to night school in Orange County, mm-hmm. and I wanted to be a psychologist. So I had to drop out of college, community college, because I was going to get dropped. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to move to LA and give it a shot. So the place I was looking at didn't have anything available. And I met these two girls in the elevator and they overheard me talking. They're from Oklahoma and they needed a roommate. So it was just that fell into place. So I ended up moving in with these two girls I didn't know. And then we were laying out at the pool one day and Adam DeVello, who was there scouting for Lauren and Heidi, came up to us. And, I thought he was this kind of cheesy producer, like, here we go again, some guy hitting on us, like, what's your club?
Right.
But he was scouting for Lauren from Laguna Beach, which I never watched, but I knew of her from tabloids and stuff. So he liked my story, liked that I had my go-to nights in LA, that I was very connected. And then we started filming 2 or 3 weeks later, and I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
That actually makes a lot of sense too, now looking back, that you had your connections already, because I'm sure they wanted to make sure that Lauren and Heidi had a place to plop in.
Yes.
And you were like, oh, let's go to Bootsy Bellows or whatever the hell it was called. And so you knew what you were doing. Were you just chilling at the pool in a bikini?
Yes.
Okay, I could see why you were like, hello, sir.
I was like, hi, can I help you?
You're like, hello, sir. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So you decide to start with The Hills. I'm interested because I think a lot of people, when you think about reality TV, immediately people are like, what did your family think when you're getting followed around with cameras?
They didn't know what to think. They didn't even really know what I was getting myself into, but they were very supportive. Mm-hmm. And I moved to LA because I wanted to do acting. So I was already auditioning for, music videos and commercials and this and that. So I figured, why not reality TV? That's not even a thing. I knew like the Jessica Simpson had a show. So that's kind of what I was like, well, it seems okay. Like it'll make me comfortable with cameras. It was very uncomfortable. I hated it in the beginning because it's not just one camera. There's like 3 and there's lighting and there's people staring at you. And it's a lot of pressure to be yourself and open up when you're just kind of thrown into that.
I feel like you played the character of the girl who had great style, like super edgy, the leather jackets, the like worn t-shirts. Like I was obsessed with your style. You were the cool girl and you love the bad boys.
Yes.
And we were all obsessed with your relationship with Justin Bobby. When was the first time you saw Justin Bobby and what did you think about him?
So I was actually the receptionist at Coyote Studios, and the first time we met, he was working there with Steven Meisel on a shoot for Madonna, and I was a receptionist, so he kept walking in front of my desk back and forth, and you could only go so far. And I was like, can I help you? Like, he's like, oh, I'm just looking for some magazines. And I'm like, there's a stack of magazines on the table in there. And then he would come back and he wanted a drink. And then he would call the office all the time. And I'd be like, good afternoon, Coyote Studios. And he'd like make funny sounds and just call me to talk. And we just started hanging out. And that's like before The Hills.
We know that reality television relationships can be fake or can be edited to look a little bit different. What was the actual dynamic of your relationship with Justin?
I feel like, Justin is a very mysterious man.
Yes, he is. With his
you
motorcycle.
Guys all got that. But when we first started dating and off camera, Justin has the biggest heart and he's so caring and he listens and he actually cares. And it's not just me, it's whoever he's talking to. He's truly connected and cares about what you're saying and wants to help. And, I feel like when I brought him into the Hills drama, he was kind of like, that wasn't even my circle that I would ever go into because I was never a part of drama. So bringing him into that where he was instantly just like put on the spot, it kind of made him act out a little bit in his own way. And then it's like it was like he didn't care, but he did care. So I got to see the Justin on camera and the Justin off camera, which they kind of captured both. Yeah. And after he watched the first or second season that he was on, he didn't like how he behaved.
Were you frustrated though by the edit of you guys ever?
Yes, because whenever there's cameras around, people act different.
Yeah.
And even going on other dates, like they just change people. But and Justin and I were very immature. We both played games with each other. So I can't just blame it all on him because I was doing the same thing. But I wish that they would have showed more of us just like hanging out. They just wanted the action side of it, the drama side of it. Because if we were just hanging out talking about music or going and playing pool all the time, that's boring.
Absolutely. Do you think that your relationship would have worked out had there not been cameras?
Not in the beginning because we were so in the Hollywood scene and going out all the time and drinking, and there's always temptation around and other people pulling us in different directions. But I think as we got closer, yes, we could have if we didn't have the producers always trying to put us at each other's neck and trying to get us jealous at each other to get a scene going. Yeah.
So what was your first impression of Lauren Conrad?
My very first impression of Lauren, when I met her with Heidi at the pool and then we went out, she wasn't the friendliest person. She was very closed off. And as we started filming, I kind of started to understand why she was like that and why she didn't just welcome people instantly, because people used her a lot and like would throw her under the bus or, and now I understand why she was like that. But in the beginning, she wasn't as friendly or welcoming.
I mean, she was doing this since she was in high school, right?
Yeah.
And she started in Laguna. I'm wondering, like, by the time you started filming The Hills with her, from what you observed, like how did she handle all the cameras following her around?
She was so seasoned already. I feel like she had that experience. She was so comfortable with the cameras. She knew all the good one-liners to say when the scene was ending, what to do. Like she knew exactly she was a professional. She knew what she was doing.
When you guys would shoot a scene, okay, you're done for the day, cameras are off. What was your relationship like with Lauren when the cameras were not rolling?
Well, we ended up living together. We had the best time together.
Yeah.
We laughed. We did everything together. You know, we had our ups and downs. Lauren is a very opinionated person and a very strong personality. And, you know, if she doesn't agree with something or like something, she's going to say it. And that's very respectful. I liked that because I don't like the black or the gray. I like the black or white. But we had some wild times.
I remember watching them.
Oh, yeah.
And it was very fun.
We actually watched an episode for our podcast, and Brody and Frankie were like, oh my gosh, you and Lauren, like, you don't even care what you guys looked like. You just rolled downstairs after 2 hours of sleep because we had makeup down our face, our lashes, our hair. And I was like, we really didn't give a shit what we looked like. We just woke up and went downstairs to film.
Did you guys ever like complain to each other about the process or like who hated production the most?
You know, I think in the beginning, we didn't really care. We were all for it. We were young, wild, willing to do anything and everything because we were out every single night anyways. So it just made sense. Yeah, follow us. And we would drink, meet guys. Like we had no responsibilities. So young, wild, and free, you know, we didn't
kind of
really
the life
care.
to live.
Yeah.
What was your first impression of Heidi Montag?
So my first impression when I first met Heidi, I met her at the pool and we instantly hit it off because Heidi is so outgoing and fun and friendly and like she lives in her own skin.
Yeah.
You know, she is who she is. And we actually hit it off immediately and we would go out all the time dancing and like she'd come to my apartment and we would drink and laugh and tell jokes and we had the best time.
Can you believe that Heidi and Spencer are still together?
I mean, that's one thing I respect about Heidi and them, or her and Spencer, is because they have stuck it out and they've been through so much. And I mean, Heidi could have left him and had a whole different life, but she loved him and she was willing to sacrifice and do whatever it took to make sure that that worked. And yeah, they're still together.
How do you feel now that The Hills is officially over?
Honestly, I feel good about it. I feel like it ran its course. I think this past New Beginnings season, we all got to a point where there were a lot of storylines at this point. A lot of my real life wasn't on the show, so I was all for the storylines where a lot of the people were putting their real lives on the line and wanting to film their real lives. Like Heidi and I, you know, your real friendship gets put on the line because they're asking you to say and do things for the sake of the show, but then you're trying to have their back, but you're also trying to like do what you're supposed to do to make a TV show. So that was really hard for me. And Heidi and I, we ended up talking it out at the end. But in my mind, I had to separate my job from my real life. Like, this is our job. Like, let's make a good show.
It must be like a little bittersweet though, because you're like, you've done this for so long. Like you now are the seasoned one. Like you met Lauren, you're like, you're seasoned. Now you're the one that's like, you're a vet. You know exactly how to do it. And now it's like you're moving on with your life and you're not going to have cameras in front of your face and you're not going to be a part of these crazy storylines. Like it feels like it's like a settling moment, but also like kind of sad.
Yeah. I actually have a question for you.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this or not, but they just announced yesterday, I think, that there's a new cast for The Hills, a new young cast.
Wait, I didn't know that.
It's a new Hills of a new generation. And it's more diverse and it's about addictions and dating in LA again. And like, what do you think of that? I want to watch it just because, but I feel like,
I think that that's really interesting. I didn't realize that. I think that as I've sat down with a lot of reality television stars now, I just feel of course there's some positives that come from it. I mean, I've had so many people be like, I have my career because of it. You know, I have my platform. I make now money from it. And like, it's brought so many good things. But there is this like negative toxic side that I think maybe in the OG days, it was a little bit more authentic.
Yeah.
I feel now like reality should literally be labeled like reality scripted television.
Yes.
Because it's not
It's
gonna
improv
be real.
acting,
Yes,
basically.
Yes. And I feel like it's kind of detrimental to people's health at this point because of how much social media is ingrained in the process of it. And people are getting like death threats if you're the villain. And it's like, I'm not actually the villain. They're telling me to say this line. So like, I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I don't think I would ever do it now that I see this side of it. In the past, I'm like, oh, that looked cool. But now I think that we see a different side.
It's so different now.
I guess we're going to have to tune in though.
I'm going to have to tune in.
Yeah, you have to.
I know. I sent it to Brody yesterday. He hasn't wrote back. I was like, wait, they could have named it something else.
Right?
Like give this new cast a new name or like
It's like the new Gossip Girl reboot where everyone's like, it's not going to be with Blake Lively and Leighton Meester. It's just not the vibe.
I know.
Shit. Okay, we need to watch it. Also, like there's just, when you compare things, I'm like, there's no way anything will ever beat the iconic moments of The Hills.
No.
Like the
blank
mascara
stares.
moment. Yeah, like exactly. Like those moments that everyone like remembers. Like these poor people aren't going to live up to that. So give them a new name. Call Her Daddy is brought to you by Uber Eats. You already know Uber Eats delivers your late night cravings in your favorite restaurants. But now, listen up. They are delivering something just as exciting. Ready for this? Sephora. All of your go-to beauty products can show up right at your door in as little as 25 minutes. Everything also is the same price as it is in store. You just basically save the time by not having to leave your couch or mid-makeup order it. So it's there by the time you have to finish your makeup. This has been such a lifesaver for me. I actually cannot explain it to you guys, especially when I'm shooting Call Her Daddy episodes outside of the studio and I'm like, oh my God, I forgot this one makeup thing. No, totally fine. Uber Eats, Sephora, we're good to go. There are so many moving parts when we're on location also. And sometimes it gets super hectic and I'll forget my favorite lip liner. And then everyone's like, just use this one. And I'm like, I won't look the way I want to look. I need that exact lip liner and only Sephora has it. So basically, instead of running around or settling on what's ever left in my bag or borrowing from someone, I can just open Uber Eats and get exactly what I need right when I need it. Order Sephora on Uber Eats today and get your glam delivered straight to your door. Check app for availability. Delivery fees may apply. Transitioning.
Okay.
Your book. You open up about what happened in your relationship with your ex-husband, Corey. And I mean, there's so much in it. And it was incredible to like how much you opened up. I'm sure as hard as it was, there's so many young women that are probably reading this, like truly going to take so much from it for their personal life and gain strength. So I just want to say like, you're amazing for writing that way.
Yeah, it was hard.
Let's start from the beginning. What made you first fall for Corey?
You know, when I first met him through a mutual friend, I was going through the ups and downs with Justin, and I just felt like I needed like a guy that was respected in his own industry and had his own thing going on. So when I met him at first, I didn't think of anything of it. He had a girlfriend. You know, a year goes by. This is when MySpace was a thing.
Who was your top 5? Tell me now.
I know, my song of the week.
I know.
And, you know, our friend, it was just kind of happened organically just from hanging out. And then whenever he broke up with his girlfriend, he hit me up on MySpace. And Lauren and I decided to invite him to our Halloween party because we needed new guys. And we were hanging out with I was with these professional BMX riders from X Games, and like they're all hot and like, you know, or I was like, okay, I know who to invite. Like we're inviting this group of guys. So that's whenever he first came on the show. And, you know, then we actually did have chemistry, and I liked that he was respected, and, you know, he was very healthy and all about his career, and he just had a whole different vibe about him than these LA guys.
And then that wasn't the case. And you write a lot about how you would catch him cheating, which I think I can say most of us have been cheated on, and it's one of the worst feelings.
Yeah.
When was the first time you caught him cheating?
Well, whenever he would go on these tours all the time, I would always get Twitter messages from fans that watched the show, and they would warn me and tell me that he was in a bar in Oregon that night making out with his friend, and they love me and they just want me to know. So whenever I would confront him, he of course would say, they're just lying to you because they don't want you to be happy. They're fans. Don't believe other people. You're going to believe them over me. So then I started thinking, okay, well, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. And so I tried to block it out and constantly believe him because I didn't want to believe it, but I kept getting these messages. And then we were never ever dating like solidly, consistently for more than like 6 months ever at a time until I got pregnant. Because I was always filming or traveling, and he was always gone traveling and had his life. So it was this off and on relationship where it's not a secret that it was toxic. I mean, there's pictures of me crying all the time on the street, or, there's footage of it everywhere.
Can you explain some of the red flags and manipulation tactics that you experienced in your relationship with Corey?
It's like, so I always disregarded everything, and I wanted to be in love. I loved him and I wanted it to work so bad that I was willing to change myself and do whatever to make him happy. That's a huge red flag. If someone doesn't trust you, or they're constantly, wanting you to delete your social media accounts, or constantly wanting to go through your text messages, or you're not allowed to talk or go on, or you can't even go have a girls' dinner without being blown up the whole time because you're being accused of going out to cheat, or there might be a guy there that you run into. Like, those are all red flags. Run.
It almost, I'm sure, made you at times feel paranoid of like, oh my God, now I can't do any of this because he's going to get mad. And when you're thinking all the time about making sure your partner doesn't get mad, like, that's not healthy.
You're not even enjoying yourself. So for me, it got to the point where, I would rather not go out because I'd rather not have to deal with the fight and the accusations. And it wasn't just like a day fight. It would string out over like a week, or something would happen and it would come back, and like, it was all projection. And then if he thought I was cheating on him with one of my producers, when I was on the travel show and I didn't call him at a certain time when I was in bed, like hell would break loose. And then because of that, I wouldn't hear from him for 3 or 4 days. And then I'd find out he was with all these girls in his hotel room. So it was this really toxic struggle. It's like, now girls that go through that and they see those red flags, like, pay attention. I think also something you said to anyone listening that I definitely have experienced is like, when they keep saying that you're the one cheating, that usually means they're the one cheating. Yes. Like you said, projection. Like, wait, why are you so obsessed with me cheating? I have not done anything to make you think that. And you usually start finding the truth out after, like, and that's the thing with my ex in our relationship. I would forgive, and then things would be amazing. And then I would find the truth out 3 months into us being amazing, and it would try to hide it from a lot of people because it's embarrassing. It's humiliating. And that's after, I had my daughter, and I wanted it to work. I had hope, but it just gradually kept getting worse. And I thought if we got married and now we have this beautiful child together, like, things would be great. He could now know that I'm his. Like, I'm not going to cheat on him. Like, stop worrying about that. Like, this is my life now. So again, it was projection, because coming home so late and calling me those names and making accusations and not having any self-control, that was a huge red flag too. And I hid it for a long time.
Yeah. I really appreciate you saying that, because I think a lot of people can relate to that, like feeling embarrassed to tell people. Yeah. And that's another sign, right? Like, when you're hiding it from the people that love you the most, that would accept anything that you come to them with, like but it's so hard to just open up about it, because there's also a part of you that wants it to get better and believes it can